And we are on. What's going on, everyone? This is Dr. Chad Kuntz, another mobile special guest primetime podcast here with Lyndsay. Lyndsay is a master health educator and a nutritionist with Total Nutrition Technology. That's where we're at right now. Lyndsay's dedicated to helping people with their health and wellness goals. Welcome to today's podcast. Thanks so much for letting me swing on over here. There's just so much variability within nutrition and just the topics, and they're ever changing. And I feel like it's a topic that I can't give my clientele enough of. I've got a small background in sports nutrition and supplements, but certainly not to the extent that you do. And so I appreciate you hopping on and really just kind of sharing. We'll get into some nitty-gritty questions that she'll kind of touch base on, because a lot of my clients are asking me these very same questions. So tell us first just a little bit more about your story and how you kind of got interested in nutrition.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me here and coming to our location. So I actually got interested in nutrition when I was in college. I started suffering severely from migraines and low blood sugar, and at the time I didn't know what was going on. So I actually went to many different doctors, eye doctors, physicians, whatnot. I ran all the tests and finally was diagnosed with migraines. And I remember the one doctor said, well, here, go get a diabetic book and read up on it.
What?
And do a diabetes diet. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So that's really, I was just thrown into it.
Yeah, you
and
really were.
Really had to teach myself about nutrition and how to change my eating habits. And I thought I was eating healthy because it was back when fat-free foods and the white bread and whatnot was the healthy food. So when I really started changing my diet, that's when I started feeling so much better. I had more energy. My migraine subsided substantially. Totally a game changer for me. And that's when I realized, wow, a nutrition can really affect a person's health and wellness and how they feel. And so at the time, I was pursuing my degree in education, and I did end up teaching for 3 years. And then after that, I decided to go back to school for nutrition because I still had such a passion for it. And did notice how many people were suffering from different ailments and diseases, and just wanted to share my passion about nutrition with others.
I think anytime you have a personal interest in it, it's irreplaceable. For me personally, I had hip surgery at a young age, and I was like, this is not right. And so there's like that everlasting burning fire for me too, like to seek out and help people avoid surgery and to have gone through what I've gone through. You kind of have a little bit of a similar story, and you were kind of like thrown out to the dogs, and they gave you a book, and you're like, what the heck is going on here? Even these guys aren't really helping me. I need to go and just figure this out for myself. And so, like I said, it's one of those things that you can't really replace, and you can't even really teach. Once you have that personal story and kind of that vendetta, you're gonna figure this out. It's powerful stuff. So we're gonna dive into some really just deep, big stuff right off the bat here. So in general, what would you say are some of the most common flaws that you're seeing in people's diets when they first come to talk to you? Sure.
So the biggest thing that I see, particularly with women, they come in and they want to lose weight. And they say, well, I am exercising like crazy and I am eating very little food. Well, that's a problem. If you don't fuel yourself and you're running on empty, your energy availability is not there, and you won't lose weight. In fact, you'll actually gain weight because your body is holding on to that energy just for even basic needs, let alone...
That is huge. I just want everyone to really soak in what she just said there, because I can't tell you, too, in the rehab setting, how important it is to get that appropriate nutrition. And when people are thinking that they're doing the right thing by not eating, when they're working out more, because they put on that mentality like, I'm going to really go for this, right? I'm going to finally do this and do this the right way. And I ask him, what did you eat today? And they're like, well, I had a banana. And at this point, it's like 6 o'clock at night. And I'm like, that's not what you need. So for you to really say that it's really powerful. What else kind of additional conversation are you having with them when they tell you that they're really not eating much?
Sure. I just go back to calories in, calories out, and particularly, again, if we're running on empty, our body is going to go in that conservation mode.
Nice.
Our metabolism slows down because that's what it's intended to do. We are, as human beings, are going to survive. That's all our bodies care about.
Nice. Perfect.
So if we're not eating, there goes that survival mode, and you're just going to hold on to every ounce of energy that you possibly can just for basic brain function.
Yeah.
Breathing.
Right.
Let alone if you were to exercise, and walking to your car takes energy, going up steps takes energy. So if you're running on empty, your body's going to be in survival mode and not care about weight or lean muscle mass or anything like that.
So what would you say, just a quick cliff note, version of that would be for what they need to be able to do to start correct that?
Sure. So everybody's different. Everybody has definitely the number of calories that he or she needs to be consuming based on their lifestyle and exercise. But the general rule of thumb is don't eat below your metabolic rate.
There you go. Nice. And the metabolic rate is?
So metabolic rate is how many calories your body burns just existing. That would be your RMR, your resting metabolic rate. And no one knows that number unless they actually test for that. And we absolutely do that testing here at Total Nutrition Technology.
Perfect. Super helpful. It's kind of like you can't move forwards unless you know what that is.
Exactly.
How long does that test take, by the way?
It takes about 7 to 10 minutes. It's super easy. You just breathe in a little machine. You make sure that you fast for 4 hours and don't exercise 4 hours prior, and a number pops up, and that's your resting metabolic rate.
Nice. Yep. Super helpful. Okay. Yep. And I was going to ask you, how do you handle the increasingly complex clients? I'm even hearing about it in terms of I'm doing some strong intermittent fasting, I'm gluten-free, I'm vegan, I'm keto. So how would you just manage those type of clients and help them still achieve their goals?
Sure, and we are seeing more and more people coming in that are on more restrictive diets or gluten-free or dairy-free or whatnot. First, we do an extensive interview with them to make sure where they are, what are their dietary needs, what is their lifestyle like, what are their goals, medical conditions, so on and so forth. So first and foremost, I want to know all about you. I want to know all about your needs and goals. Then we can start digging pretty deep. Is gluten-free really for you?
Nice.
Is being on keto really for you? And I really, really want to emphasize that everybody is different.
Sure.
We all process carbs, proteins, fats completely differently. Yeah. We have elite athletes. I have just the moms out there just trying to get through their basic day. So everyone's needs are different, and we have so many testing services to really say, hey, is keto right for you, or is gluten-free right for you? So
I love the answer, because everyone is so different. We all have our different backgrounds and stories and things that have happened to us. So being open to that is incredibly helpful. And rather than you just having a one-way street, some of the traditional doctors are just, eat healthy, do this, do that. And the reality is there's so much variety in terms of what that can look like. Not to mention, I imagine, what can be most sustainable for someone.
Right, and that's what I'm all about. This is a lifestyle change. There's a sustainability to this, and if you can't do keto for the rest of your life, then probably not the best for you to be doing right now, because you're only going to go back to where you were before. So again, just really honing in on individual needs and testing services. Hey, if you say I'm every time I have dairy or every time I have gluten, I feel X, Y, and Z. Well, guess what? We have a test for that. We have food sensitivity test for that. We have DNA testing to see how your body does process carbs, proteins, fats. So I have clients say, hey, I want to try the keto diet. And well, guess what? Your body might not be receptive to that if you're not able to metabolize proteins and fats appropriately. So going back to your original question, how do I help with these complex clients coming in? We have testing services for that, and I do an extensive interview to make sure that that individual is doing the right thing for them rather than harming themselves.
It's amazing, really, the technology we have available to us. I think there's almost like a lag time, like people don't even realize like all the information that is out there. And that's another reason I'm glad we're on here today, just sharing like the power of being able to do individualized testing literally all the way down to their DNA. And so while something you might think is working for you, or maybe your friend's doing it, it's working for them, you might come back and say, listen, you can try that, but in terms of the long-term goal, which I love about your model, that sustainability, like maybe that's not the best for you. And then even that point, you could be like, well, you can try it, but I'm showing you the data right now.
Sure.
Come back in 6 months, what have you, if it's not working out.
Right.
So I personally have a question for you on the rehab side. A lot of people are having a lot of inflammation and they're trying to recover from that. And the question is kind of asked, how much does a diet truly play a role in their inflammation or their inflammatory markers?
It's huge. If you were just take a general rule of thumb, an idea of a takeaway of what to do to decrease some of that inflammation, sugar.
Right.
Nice. That would be the biggest nugget, I would say, is taking sugar out of your diet, because our bodies they don't like it. They inflame with that. So yes, absolutely, nutrition, diet plays a huge role in inflammatory markers. So there's some general ones like sugar, alcohol, and then for other people, it could be chicken, it could be spinach, I mean, it could be healthy foods.
Wow,
so
that's big.
We have to think outside the box as well. Again, that's one of those that, yes, process of elimination. Could we figure that out? Absolutely. That takes a lot of time. We also have a food sensitivity testing service. So we can test, and we do a LEAP protocol of an elimination diet, and so that we calm your body down and we get it back to baseline, so that it's not having this immune response every time you're eating an inflammatory food that your body sees as foreign or bad, like chicken or spinach or food dyes or what have you. So yes, diet plays a huge role in inflammation. I'm
just curious, would artificial sugars or stevia, I mean, do they potentially cause inflammation as well?
They do. Okay. They do, yep. Like I said, regular refined sugar, white carbs, alcohol, artificial sweeteners, absolutely, yep.
So if someone's like begging for a sweet taste, they're trying to recover, but they've got high inflammation, I guess what would be your quick suggestion, what they could look into?
Yeah, and it's one of those things, everything in moderation, of course. So if it's not something that you're consuming on a regular basis, every now and then it's certainly not going to be harmful. If you're someone that is just craving that sweet tooth, dark chocolate is great. Just a little piece of that is good, yep.
Keyword little piece, everyone.
Well, moderation.
It's just this little bar that I'll take all day to eat. So no, I like it. Because I was just going to say, a lot of people are deferring to the stevia because it's like this ultimate, non-sugary sweetener, but I guess we need to still be mindful about the inflammation.
Well, we do, and certainly the quality of the stevia, because there's stevia out there that is
good point.
Actually not stevia, or it's considered stevia because it has 0.006% of the leaf in it.
The percentage of it.
Yeah, so you do have to be mindful of not just grabbing a mainstream stevia product, but actually getting a quality one as well, because yes, studies have shown that stevia itself is not bad for you. Okay. But if it's a really processed and it's not truly 100% stevia, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And so, I've had a lot of clients they're kind of interested more about doing intermittent fasting. So I guess what I'm kind of wondering, is this something that you suggest the general public should do, or like where would someone start if they were just kind of curious about learning more about intermittent fasting and if that's right for them?
So in general, I would not recommend it. However, going back to everybody is different. For some, it could be beneficial. I would just be very careful with your blood sugar. Anyone that has glucose issues really needs to be monitored by a doctor with that, or a registered dietitian, nutritionist as well. So that is more of I don't want to say an extreme diet, but the protocol of that is a lot different than just a more general one. So I'd be careful. I would definitely really interview the person, really see about the medical background of that. There are studies out there, just like every study, there's good and there's bad on it. So, and there's so many different types of intermittent fasting. So
good point.
Yeah.
You see a lot of it on Instagram, and that's half of why I bring it up. Unfortunately, everyone's going onto social media. They see this guy or girl that looks absolutely amazing, and I haven't eaten in 2 days, and it's like, well, shit, I should probably do that too. So it makes it confusing for some customers and clients. Like, that looks like it's working for that guy. Now, what you said, glucose issues, do you just mind expounding upon what you meant by that?
Sure. So your blood sugar spikes and drops quickly. So diabetes, hypoglycemia, when your blood sugar gets too low. So what we want to avoid are the highs and lows with that blood sugar, because you're going to start feeling really tired. You could get brain fog, you could get shaky and whatnot. So the goal with our blood sugar is to keep it as stabilized as possible throughout the day.
Perfect.
And some people are much more sensitive to sugar, white carbs, higher glycemic fruits, meaning they have more fructose in them, just a higher level naturally. So again, that's someone with a medical condition, with diabetes or hypoglycemia, but we all are prone to the ups and downs with blood sugar. So
for sure.
Intermittent fasting can affect that. And so you want to be mindful with that. And also with intermittent fasting, what you were talking about before, you're seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
It actually goes hand in hand with the ketogenic diet.
Okay.
Naturally, your body, when you're on the ketogenic diet, is what you'll see, fat burning mode.
Nice.
It really, fat is your last source of energy. And so when your body is trying to use energy from that fat, your metabolism will slow down a little bit. So naturally, you're not hungry for longer periods of time, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So it is that survival mode.
Yep.
So you'll hear people, well, I'm doing keto and intermittent fasting. It almost naturally goes to that intermittent fasting state. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's why you see it a lot as well.
Nice. Okay. So I'm in contact with a lot of 40 and 50-year-olds. They've got the muffin.
Midsection. Yep, that midsection.
The midsection. They've tried everything. They still can't lose weight. In fact, I've got a Facebook group that I'm going to share this with as well, my classic 40 and 50-year-olds. And man, on their inquiries, they're all talking about, I can't shed this. So, where do people start? What do they need to do for those that feel like they've tried everything and they can't lose it? So
I would say a lot of people that'll come in, and particularly women with that midsection, they're not eating carbs.
They're not eating
carbs. Yes.
Gotcha.
So carbs, whole grains, of course. We're not talking carbs such as cookies and white bread and whatnot, but there's fiber in it. So a lot of that could just be some bloating going on.
Okay.
Again, it goes back to where is your body getting energy from, and if you don't have enough carbohydrates in your diet, then you don't have that immediate source of energy. So I would say that, but in general, eating every couple of hours, every 3 to 4 hours to keep your metabolism going.
Yeah, right.
Keeping that fire going in your metabolism, eating nutritionally sound food. So making sure that you're focusing on lean meats, whole grains, vegetables, fruits, lean dairy as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you had to say a number of how many meals a day, what would you say for someone who's that 40 or 50-year-old and trying to lose their midsection?
So on average, it's usually 3 meals, 3 snacks a day.
Okay. And do you believe in grazing along those lines? Where you've got, let's say they've got 3 meals a day, maybe they're trying to keep up with their metabolism. So would you suggest that they too kind of do some grazing in between meals, or would you suggest like just only have those meals in those portions?
It's going to depend on your lifestyle. It's going to depend on, some clients come in and they've had the sleeve or bariatric surgery, and in those cases they're going to be eating every hour, 2 hours, because their stomachs are smaller. So there's no right or wrong answer to that. It's really going to be based upon you. Honestly, if you're not going over that 4-hour mark and you want to make that grazing in those 4 hours, go for it.
Nice.
Just be mindful of calories in, calories out, because you can do a lot of grazing in 4 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And your calories are out the window for the day.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, good point.
Yeah.
Because it could slippery slope, right? They might just start crushing popcorn or nuts and eating a ton of fat through the nuts, and all of a sudden, they're gaining weight. So.
Yes, because consuming healthy food, too much healthy food isn't good for you either.
Right.
It's calories.
Right. So also, one of the last questions I want to ask you is that I've seen a percentage of people who are overeating due to just the comfort food, like a lot of anxiety, depression. So I don't know if you've seen that too, and just your conversations day to day here. And what would you suggest they do to really combat that?
Sure. So a lot of what we do here at Total Nutrition Technology is not just eat this, don't eat that. We do customize a meal plan for you. We really get behind that behavior change. That's what's really going to be the sustainable and lifestyle change that we desire for you.
Right.
So yeah, we tap into that. We're going to tap into all the whys. Are you tired? Are you stressed? Are you happy? Are you sad? You name it. So really getting that nutrition and counseling and addressing those issues as well will help you with that sustainable diet. Because sure, it's easy for 30 days to stick to no sugar, no alcohol, no this, no that. But after 30 days, let's face it, we're going to be tired of that. We're going to be bored.
Right.
And we haven't necessarily addressed the whys behind how we were eating before. So I would definitely find a good nutritionist who is able to do the nutrition counseling side of it as well, so that we are really tapping into those whys.
And you can't ignore it. It's kind of like, what's driving this, right? It's almost like people block out everything else and they just focus on the food. You're like, well, what's the big picture here? And that's what I love again about your models, that you're kind of getting into the underlying why. It may bring up something that they realize, wow, I really need to change that, and that's actually forcing me to eat those cookies at night that I seem irresistible, or whatever it may be.
Exactly. Yeah, and especially with the holidays coming up.
Yeah, good timing here.
Yeah, good timing, right? With the holidays coming up, it's the number one topic, that comfort food, that environment. Are you at it, or do you go to a lot of parties and you just feel like you need to consume it because you're in that environment?
Right.
So
it's the social angle of it too.
So I'll definitely tap into all of that to get behind those whys, because again, if you just are given a plan, sure, it might be easy to follow for a little while, but if you're not addressing everything behind that, then nothing is going to change.
Because it's not really a diet; it's a lifestyle change, right?
It
behavioral
is.
Change, and that's kind of a mindset shift for a lot of these people too, because they come in, they want to see you. I want to look like this in 5 months, then go back to do what I'm doing. You're like, wait. This is an ultimate lifestyle and behavioral change, and that absolutely takes time too to implement.
It does, for sure.
So along those lines, here at Total Nutrition Technology, who is really your perfect client to work with?
Sure. So for me personally, I work with eating disorders, weight loss, family nutrition, any gut dysbiosis, so any gut issues that you're having, food sensitivity, and then also micronutrients. So with athletes as well, for anybody really. But micronutrients is basically testing you for any deficiencies you have, more than what the doctor can actually do.
Nice.
So those are my areas of expertise. And then we do have other registered dietitians and nutritionists here that specialize in other areas as well.
Oh, sweet.
So,
Okay.
So we covered anything nutrition related.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. So what does the kind of lifestyle of a client look like here, or I should say their journey more so? So they would come with you, how do they get started, and then what does that full process kind of look like?
Sure. So we would start off with a free consultation for you to come in, a health assessment, and during that health assessment, again, we'd go over medical, lifestyle, goals, and then we would show you what we have to offer. So we do have different programs and services that I've mentioned here. Once you decide to get started with the program, then we would meet weekly.
Oh, you do meet weekly?
We do,
okay.
Yep, for 30 minutes, and those are those weekly coaching sessions at accountability. During those times, we would go over nutrition topics, sugar, carbs, gut health, you name it, as well as going behind, talking about some of those whys and that I talked about earlier as well. Depending on the duration of the program that you get started with, it would go to bi-weekly sessions.
Okay.
And then monthly sessions, and that would be that maintenance stage once you really have a handle on everything.
Oh, okay. So ultimately you're trying to get someone to the maintenance stage, and then from there on after, I would assume you'd want to see them indefinitely once a month, or is there a time where you let them go?
So everyone's a little bit different. I have some clients that definitely decide to continue with the program. I do have clients that come back periodically throughout the year, but ultimately my goal is to get you set for life so that I don't ever see you again. I want to see you again, but that's the lifestyle change for sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for coming on. Any last tips or anything else that the viewers should know about you, or finishing touches?
That I'm just here to help you with your health and wellness goals, and I'm absolutely passionate about doing that and helping you.
Perfect.
Yep.
Well, thanks so much, Lyndsay, for coming on. And leave any questions or comments below if you're kind of just tuning in here on live or catching us on YouTube, and we'll make sure to get you all the information. So,
Great.
Thanks so much, Lyndsay. Everyone, take care. Bye.